in Yakov, and this is Brachot, page 33b, and it says, Meitave, they brought a refutation from a Brighton. It says, HaKorei Shomea, HaKorei Shema, a person who reads the Shema, for Kofla, and doubles it, Hare Ze Meguna. This is disgusting, or this is, not disgusting, this is the wrong word for it. This is, and Meguna is, disgraceful. There you go. I said disgusting, disgraceful. So what happens? First of all, what's going on there? We have a concept we were learning the last time, that if a person, well, we've learned previously, I should say, that if a person says modim, we give thanks, we shut him up. Why do we shut him up? Because it seems like we're talking to two gods. This God, modim melech, and this one God, modim melech. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to give the appearance of we're praying to dueling gods, as it were. So the same thing when it comes to Shema. We don't want to do. So the question is, how is it? This is a Gemara. I'm not getting into it here. I mean, they don't get into it here. But the question, the Gemara says, just very quickly says, how does this work? In one case, refers to where you say each word of the Shema and repeats it, and then repeats before proceeding. What's next? So you say Shema, Shema, Yisrael, Yisrael, Hashem, Hashem, again. Okay, and then where the other one refers to, he says the entire verse, and then says it over again. So the article will explain that the Breita refers to the first case, where he says each word twice. In such a case, he does not appear to be accepting two deities and need not be silenced. His behavior, however, is considered disgraceful, since he reduces the reciting of the Shema to a farce. Rabbi Zera, on the other hand, refers to the latter case, where he repeats the entire verse. Here he appears to blaspheme by accepting two deities and should be silenced. Okay, that's one way to understand. Then he says other Rishonim understand our Gemara to mean the exact opposite. Where he repeats the word Shema, he appears to be accepting two deities and should be silenced. But where he repeats the entire verse, behavior is merely disgraceful. Okay, bottom line is, you should not repeat major themes like that. You don't say Shema, Shema. Oh, this is so. You had a song that I remember when I was growing up. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu. So you do the same thing. So here, that's exactly what they were yelling at. Don't do that.
Yeah. And I know in Reform circles too, when it comes to saying Hamotzi, they like to do that too.
Right. So all these little ditties, I like to call them ditties, but all these little ditties that they made up was directly against what was going on.
Does that relate to when the Chazan does his repetition of getting into certain refrains and repeating? Again, that's big in conservative circles. They like to repeat stuff over and over when he's doing the repetition, just to get people to sing along.
You said refrain and then you said doubling. It's two different things. Singing.
You know how that goes.
No, so the Yitzmachu wouldn't do it, but the Shema Yisrael would do it. In other words, when they would have during Kedusha, if they would start repeating Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, Shema Yisrael, so then you can't do that again. According to one opinion, you could. According to that opinion, you couldn't. But we rather not do that sort of thing because it gives the appearance that it's no good. By the way, this is, and I remember the conservative rabbi. I never fought it, but it's the conservative rabbi in Bangor, Maine. I'll even give his name for eternity here. Rabbi David Cantor. He had and probably still has the same problem. That when we say V'nei Emar at the end of Aleinu, V'nei Emar V'Hashem Elamelech Hachal Haaretz B'yom Ahu B'yom Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shemo Echad. His name is one. So he was against repeating Ushmo, Ushmo, Ushmo Echad. He said, you sing it Ushmo Echad. So his name is one. So they said, why? He said, what are we? The Father, Son, the Holy Ghost here? Ushmo, Ushmo, Ushmo. Three things? What's the three deities? His name is one? Who? So he was militant about that. Again, I don't know if he still is militant. Maybe if he listens to this, or if somebody's hearing it and knows his name, he's now in California, maybe he'll ask him, do you still hold that way? But he was militant on that. He didn't want it. And I give him credit for it. It makes sense. We don't sing it here. We don't sing it like that here. The Orthodox have gotten away from that, actually. And we sing it, we don't repeat the words for the most part. Especially young Israels. They fly through it. So it could be that, they all don't like him after a while, but I remember that fight. It was it was not a fight on my show, but it was a fight for his show. And I thought it was very funny that he's fighting that battle, but it wouldn't be a battle. We have a saying in the rabbin, I wouldn't die on that hill. It's not one of the battles I would fight. But he did. And again, while he was there, he was successful. Whether or not they kept it up after he left, I have no idea. I wasn't dumping into place. But I remember that.
That's a good example of Western influence with the 2 and 3 part harmony, where you do canon singing.
Oh, so that would have been interesting too. If you would have had, all these tunes were based on the choir system, you could hear it and it would be beautiful. But what happens is it gets taken down, watered down, and we start singing it all together. So it goes Ushmo, Ushmo, Ushmo Echad. So again, why are you singing it 3 times? The other question that he never picked on, what I would pick on is, why Bayomahu, on that day. Again, why are we doing that? The real reason is because it fits. The tune fits. I can make it fit another way, and we even repeat a word. What do we say? Ushchina tuzo, Ushchina tuzo. We say that. I don't repeat it.
Be stretched out.
Right. I never say it. Let's go ahead. But you can't do it because you ruin the whole song. a lot of it is just the song, but it's okay. I'll tell Rabbi Cantor I said his name on the tape. He'll be able to watch it. He's famous. As long as they live in 7 minutes, as long as they listen 6 minutes into it, they'll have his name. Okay. Anyway, but that's what's going on. So it says that we shouldn't, whatever the argument is, whether we shouldn't repeat the whole verse or we shouldn't repeat the Shema twice. Again, anything that's referring to God is what we're talking about. When you came to Yismechu, Malachutecha, Shamrei, 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 Shavakare, you're not saying God's name in that. So we all know it's a ditty. That's all. But when it comes to saying God's name, that's what they were against. Or anything alluding to God. That would be, again, something they would say, we have to watch out for people thinking that we're praying to different gods, or that we're accepting different gods. And certainly in those times that we're dealing with, to use just history here, it would have meant something. Because we were constantly fighting against paganism. So we want to really be clear that that our God is one God, and there is no two, there's no good versus bad. That's why, if you think about it, when you look at the prophets, they're saying, Yotze or uvarei choshech, he forms dark and he creates light. Borei ra, he creates evil. We're saying that God's doing all this. It's not this foreign. It's not two competing actions going on. We kept pushing that. So now I'm going to say Shema Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Shema Shema, or whatever the argument would be. So wait a second. I thought you said you only have one God, and now you have two gods. And by the way, that's why the rabbis were so much against learning Kabbalah to the masses. When you start getting to Ein Sof and Shechina and the 9 worlds, Gavor, Teferet, and everything else is so misunderstood. It's ridiculous. So you have 9 gods now. Why would you have 20 gods? Get over with. And they don't realize that it's all just one part of the same model. So it's no good. So that's why they said, don't teach this publicly. It should be only taught 1-to-1, and only for someone who's up at that level, the doctoral course, if you will. You're not supposed to just teach these things to the masses. That's why when Madonna made it big, it was I don't know when she was making it big, but when she made that big with the Kabbalah, and all the non-Jews were studying with Philip Berg, another one who made him famous from from my tube, but it was wrong. They misunderstood the whole thing, and that was the problem. Now you're making you're cheapening the whole experience.
Especially historically, in context when you're surrounded by polytheists.
Correct.
It's everywhere.
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. That's what they had to be very, very careful for. So that's why they were saying, Harez Maguna. It's not Asr, by the way. They didn't say it's forbidden. They said it's disgraceful. Unlike Modim, where they said, shut him up. And we're going to get into that. So it says, actually, we wouldn't get into that, but that's just understand, just have their mind that when it said Shema, we just said that is disgraceful, but we didn't say you have to shut him up. So it goes to a whole argument in the Gemara, but we're not really interested in that right now. I'll send you to Brachot, and you can look up the whole Gemara and see what's going on there. But we're interested in this part. So Amalei Rav Papa le'Abaye. Rav Papa said to Abaye, V'dilma me'ikara lo kavein libo. Maybe the reason the guy is repeating Shema is because originally he didn't have kavana. He didn't have intent, right? We're davening, it's in the morning. You're only saying Shema twice. You're saying Shema in the morning and you're saying Shema at night. In the morning, you're exhausted because you just woke up from your sleep. So you're covering and you didn't have your cup of coffee yet, or you didn't have your cup of tea, or whatever. You woke up and you ran to shul and you're saying Shema, you're davening. It's very difficult to have kavana, to have concentration. At nighttime, same thing, right? I went through a whole day of work. I'm dog tired. I haven't eaten because the rabbis made a rule I shouldn't eat before Ma'ariv because then I may miss it and I may go to sleep. So now I haven't eaten. I'm miserable. And now you expect me to have kavanah and this stuff too? Okay? That's really what it is. On both sides I haven't eaten. When it comes to mincha, Baruch Hashem, I ate already. I'm relaxed. But but that's what's going on. But I have to say Shema twice a day. So Rav Papa said maybe the reason the guy said Shema twice was not because he was. Why should we suspect that he was preaching dualism or polytheism? Why? Rather say that the reason the guy did it was because he realized he didn't have kavanah. And if I know I don't have kavanah for something, so I should repeat it. Right? If it's not, I'm not saying God's name twice. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. It's a verse from Torah. You can say it 1,000 times over. Who cares? It's a verse. It's a complete. Anytime I'm saying a verse from Torah, I can repeat the verse from Torah. Otherwise, how would a Baal Korea, somebody has to practice and learn the Torah? How could he ever practice? You're saying it with the Shem Hashem. You're saying it with God's name properly. When I teach people, I would a bar mitzvah boy or someone who's getting ready for something. I always tell them, don't use the kinoyim, don't use the nicknames. Yeah. Use the real names, because what happens is when you go up, you're going to be used to the nicknames. So you say Vayedaber Hashem El Moshe. No, it's not Hashem. So now you have the gabbai having to say God's name in vain.
Yeah, to
tell him, you have to say the right way. You don't want to get involved in that. Tell the kid right, tell the adult right, make him practice correctly, and so on and so forth. Leave me alone. But so now, once I get into that, when I'm praying, maybe I don't have enough kavanah, which, by the way, is a problem in itself. I'm going to get into a rant here, but it's a problem in itself. We have when people pray, they should be zoning in to whom they're speaking, namely God. I'm not in a race for my life. I'm not trying to get out. I'm supposed to have a kavana and realize I'm speaking to the King of Kings, all who and blessed be He. So that's what I'm supposed to believe, right? And what am I doing? I'm reading words and I don't understand the words. Or even if I understood the words, because I'm tired or I'm not zoned in, I'm, as we were saying, Yiddish blubbling. Just saying the words. Hopefully I'm saying them right, but I'm saying the words. And it was very interesting is when you have a person who will lead the congregation, they are Speedy Gonzalez in their chair. Gonzalez in their chair. They're finished before I start Aleinu, they're already in Vanei Amar. And put them up here, they cannot say the words. I'm looking at saying, how can you delude yourself? You live in a delusional world. You're sitting over there and you're speeding and you're blah, 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 blah. You get up here, you can't say the words right. How do you do that? And they're trying to run. They're tripping all over the place. You hear a person doing a Haftorah, give me a bar mitzvah boy any day. They're destroyed. They don't know what they're saying. But that's the problem. There's no kavanah here. There's mamash no kavanah. I can't translate everything. There's mamash no kavanah. And that's what the problem is. Nobody knows what's going on. They say it day after day after day after day, and they're tired of it. They're burned out. The reason they're burned out is because they never thought to say, let me see what I'm saying. Let me try to figure out why the rabbis put this particular tehillah in there. We daven 3 times a day. You should think about these things. That alone would have enough. They have books on books on books. How to have intent when you're davening. My intent is very simple. Look in the English if you don't know the Hebrew already. Look at it. Try to figure out. Go to the books of Psalms. Most of it's Psalms anyway. Go see what David was saying. See what Shlomo was saying. Who cares? Take your time. It's an avoda. An avoda means work. It's avoda zalev. It's a work of the heart. So here what people did, speeding through it. I did it in 20 minutes. I did it in 15 minutes. I did a half hour. What are you so slow for? You're saying 80 pages. How can you say 80 pages in 20 minutes? Oh, I want to know. Forget the kavanah. How can you physically say those words? So unless I'm that guy who's on the commercial, ever listen to a car commercial? They give it the whole car, and then the guy at the end.
Yeah, they speed it up.
That guy, he'd be great for davening. He could get me out. He could get me out in 15. I would name that tune in 15 seconds. Go ahead, but he could get you out. And the truth is, but you ever hear the words he's saying? We tune out. We tune off to that. We know he's saying every word. I'm sure he's saying every word, but I never heard it. I never listened to it. So again, what's the Baltfield supposed to be doing? He's supposed to be inspiring us. Instead, he's and saying the words wrong. So it's not good. Okay, it's off my rant. My rant is finished. Okay. So now, and what happens? It was so, and the next time he's going, so Kevan Date. He realized he had no kavanah. He did tshuva. He does repentance. So now he says it. So here's the response to this. Amalei. So Abaye says to Erector of Papa, he says, what's going on? Chavruta kalfe shmaya mika. You're saying that he's a chavrusa of God suddenly. He has, what happened to the respect? You have no respect. That's what he's saying. Chavruta kalfe maya, how does he say it? He says, sorry, he turns the page here. So yeah, he says, may one act towards heaven with familiarity. He's translated very nicely. But what Papa is saying to, what Abai is saying to Rav Papa is, I don't get it. You think that the guy, he's treating God like a chavrusa? That's how he's speaking. I can speak to you and not have intent. I don't realize who you are. So I don't realize you're the president of Midwest Torah Center. So I speak to you like a normal human being. I don't say Mr. President. I just call you by your name. Mark, what's going on? Chutzpah, how dare you speak to me? How dare you address me? Or better still, imagine somebody would walk into Bill's class when he was a teacher, and one of these little pipsqueak kids, no matter how big they are, they would go and say, "So Bill, what's happening?" Instead of Mr. Hofstadter. So now some teachers would be comfortable with that because they're idiots. Yes, 20 minutes and I can get away with that. Okay, they're just idiots. You don't allow a kid to speak to you like that. But any normal teacher who has a bit of self-respect will look at that kid and say, "Excuse me, it's Mr. Hofstadter to you."
You have to have that separate.
Or what do you see? You have no Hofstadter or do you have Mr. H?
Usually Hofstadter.
Okay, so you're
But
told.
you have to have that separation
Right.
as a sign of respect.
Right. You would say, so if you're in German, you could even say, "No, Mr. It's Herr Hofstadter," if you don't mind. That's it.
It's also a really good form to call the students by their last name, Mr.
Oh, okay. That's something else. But I'm saying,
Because it raises
right,
the
raises that.
level of
Right. But I'm saying, but for them to come in to ever treat you like one of their peers, no, I'm not your peer. Leave me alone. That's why when you have, and I disagree with this, in the Christian world, they call their priest by Father Bob. No, it's not Father Bob.
Is that common?
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it's totally common. It's not Father Bob. It's Father McGillicuddy. What do I care what your last name is? It's Father last name.
Oh.
Just like Mr. last name, Father last name. Or Father for short, no problem. If that's your title, Captain, yes sir, Captain my Captain. Major. I don't care. But it's wrong, because what you've done is denigrated the office. And you've taken away the respect. That should be natural. And they've taken that away. You would never go to your father and call him Father and use his first name. That's such a lack of respect for your parents. You cannot do that. And when I was growing up, we couldn't call anybody. If you were my neighbor, I would have to call you Uncle Uncle Bill. Uncle Bill, and because I remember I had to call me uncles and aunts. I remember, they're really my aunt? No, but you have to call them you have to have a title.
That's
Has
the
to have
way
a
we raise our-
title.
it's like we raise our kids like
That's
that.
all. You have to have a title. So do I. Well, it was the hardest thing when you had kids like, I won't mention names here because it's not fair to them. But when you have the younger generation who doesn't like such formalities, and you're saying, I don't want, so the kids want to use their first name. And I say, no, you cannot use their first name. You have to say Mr. or Mrs. blah, blah, blah. And I say, how would you rather be addressed? So they say, I want my first name. I said, that's not the option. I want my kids to understand respect. And it's very hard because these young kids are very much into informalities now. But again, that's what's going on here. So Chavruta Kalfe Shmaya Mika. How can we? What kind of nonsense is this? You're going to treat God as a chavrusa, as an equal? That's why he had no kavana. It's impossible. She says, Ilo Kivan Daite. So Abaya went further. If he doesn't have kavana at the beginning, mechinin lay, then you actually I'll go further. Mechinin lay, b'mar zavta denapalcha ad mechavin daite. He doesn't have concentration from the outset. I'll quote his translation. We strike him with a smith hammer until he does concentrate. Hit him on the head. Give up. What are you doing here? Okay, it's not literally take a hammer and but wake him up. You have to have this person understand who he's davening to. And again, that people would recognize who we're actually praying to and believe that we're actually praying to God. The whole thing would change. Things would change. It's because we have this hard concept of, wait, you mean God's listening to me? That's impossible. God doesn't listen to me. I'm a little cog. I'm not even a cog in the wheel. I'm a little piece of dust. And God really cares about me? And the answer is yes. God cares about us individually, collectively, whatever it's going to be. And we have to do our job. That's it. So and I have to address you. It's like just because parents have 12 kids, why would any one of those kids believe that they're less important than the other? And that's what some people want to do. They want to tie to that. They want to claim that. It's ridiculous. So that's why Abaye was getting really strict here. He was saying, if this guy doesn't believe it, smack him. Wake him up. You have to know who you're davening to. Okay. Good with that? That's all good? Mm-hmm. Okay. And the other thing here. Even Yakov has a very short thing, so I'll just read it. It says, when it says Chavruta Kalfe Shema, it says Perish Rashi Minhag Shnoeg Adam Chaverum. Rashi explains that this terminology that you're making God a Chavruta, it means you're conducting. It would be like a man dealing with his friend, that sort of thing. Okay. So this is what we say, that the Torah speaks in the way of man. So it means that maybe when he was doubling the words, he didn't have good kavana at the beginning. So when I'm speaking to my friend, I may not have proper intent. I may speak incorrectly. I may realize, oh, you know what? And how many times have you heard this? You say something to somebody else, and somebody responds in a really, crazy. They respond to you in a crazy manner because they heard something that you said through a different filter. Everybody has filters. We all have filters. Okay? When I speak to you, depending on what I say to you, an alarm bell is going to go off in your mind without you knowing why, and you're going to respond angrily or something else. And now I'm looking at you and saying, whoa, what did you hear? What do you... Or either one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to start yelling at you, we'll have a big fight. Or I'm going to be smart to say, why are you reacting like this? What are you doing? I didn't say anything to you. You said blah, blah, blah. And then you say, no. Oh, sorry, you misunderstood me. Let's try this again. Right? You do it with your wife. You ever do it with your wife?
I was thinking on another thing here.
Yeah.
In Judaism, where God is so sacred that you cannot call him by his name.
Right.
You say Hashem, or you say Adonai, or one of the attributes.
Right.
This should be just go without saying, that you can't get familiar. This is very natural that you have to show this honor, this relationship with God.
Again, you're right, it should, but it doesn't.
But it just makes for consistency that this is such a sacred relationship that you have to show every respect you can.
That's true, but what the Torah is telling us and what the rabbis are addressing here is that the same way we treat our fellow man is going to impact on how we treat God. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing we're learning here. Out of everything else, that's what we're learning. Because if I don't think about what I'm going to say to you, I just let my mouth go. It goes on autopilot. And so then I say something. And again, I may have said something totally innocuous, but I should have realized where you were coming from and what your background was, and then speak to you that way. And then there won't be such a misunderstanding. Like I said, the biggest thing is when you have a husband and wife, newlyweds, speaking, you say something to your wife, and your wife hears it through the filter of her upbringing.
Hot button issue.
Oh my God, it's crazy sometimes, and the other way around. So she may hear her father in her mind, and that's or her mother. It was normally the women have this love-hate relationship with their mothers. They love to hate each other. I don't know, but it's so because they're so close. And what happens is, if the wife, if you say something that would have sounded like her mother, it's like, let's bounce out against this one too. It's just, or her brother. I mean, there's so many people that there's so many things that are affecting us that we put these filters up and we hear everything through the filter. So that's what's going on here. When I'm speaking, when I'm davening, if my filter is not adjusted properly, I forget who I'm speaking to. And again, I'm not speaking I'm speaking to God. I'm addressing the Lord here. And that's why when people come in shorts, I'm going to pick on clothing for a second. When people come in shorts, sandals, and very relaxed to prayer, they're setting themselves up for disaster. I'm not saying it's forbidden. I'm not getting into what's forbidden, what's not forbidden. Because there's no halakha that says I can't walk with sandals, I can't walk with shorts, I should have a shirt on, like when you're walking into a store, it says no shirt, no shoes, and no
service.
No service, that's what it is. No shirts, no shoes, no service. So so you have to have brains. If they're demanding it to get service, certainly for God. So if I have my shirt on, and I have my shorts on, I have my sandals on, I'm not saying it's forbidden. God, don't get me wrong. Somebody can daven like that all they want. But you've set yourself up for disaster. Because the same way as I would never, ever go into a job interview like that. Never. Not even to go swimming, to be a lifeguard when I go into a job interview like that. It's foolishness. You're going to lose a job. Unless they're really desperate, you're going to lose a job. So why would I go to God like that and have this thing of, well, God saw me in my birthday suit. Yeah, but you wouldn't walk out to your parents who also saw your birthday suit naked. So why would you treat God like that? And why would you use that as an excuse? So again, that's what I'm saying. When we set ourselves up and we're relaxed in this situation and we feel that, what's the big deal? I talk to God 3 times a day. It's no big deal. God won't mind if I dress like this. So we're not treating God with the same respect as we would the job interviewer or the king. Again, when I walk, no matter how much what you feel about President Obama, President Nixon, President Reagan, President Bush, I don't care where your views are, you would never go in a disrespectful attire to them. You wouldn't. If you're a normal human being, you wouldn't go. I don't even think the rapper would go with the underwear showing and everything else. He's going to the president. You go to the president, you dress up properly. Okay. So, I guess we'll have to stop there. Okay.
That's one of the big problems in our age.